I heard about TEMU, so I ordered some of their products and did a video a couple months ago on them. When I did it, all I did was compare prices. Well, today I have purchased with my own money. Now, TEMU offered to send me some products, but then I would have had to have sent them a link to the video before I published it. I don't do that kind of stuff. We're going to actually test these tools out today and see just how well they function. So if you're interested, not only getting a real cheap price, but to see if these things are going to function, let's stick around and see what happens. All right, so I think I'm pretty sure that I know what's in this particular box, and it's mostly all the same stuff. This is really not a woodworking tool. This is, I guess you could call it a woodworking tool. I'm gonna go ahead and look up my prices that I paid for all the different items, and then I'll throw it up on the screen here, and so you'll be able to see what I actually paid. One of the things about TEMU is that it's many suppliers, and you can, like on these cups, find 15 different listings for these same cups, and they're all at different prices. There's a lot of them, it'll have like $2, but when you click on it, it's just a little rubber boot for $2, and then all the cups are 15, which I can't stand something like that. You know, be honest, be upfront with your price. Don't try to be sneaky to get you to click on this one. I don't know if I'd call this a woodworking tool, but I use these cups every day. This is the type of cups that I use. This is one of my cups, and as you can see, this is a actual Yeti cup. So let's see how this compares. Oh, make it not fair. Take the lid off. So we've got 270 grams for the TEMU cup. We got 403 grams for the Yeti cup. So definitely it's the Yeti is a heavier cup, but if they're vacuum sealed and if the vacuum is keeping the cold, does it really matter if the cup weighs more? They're supposed to hold the same amount of volume. So let's check them out and see. We're going to zero out the scale. All right, so we're zeroed out here. I've got some crushed ice. All right, that worked out to be almost 250 grams of ice. We're going to zero that one out. And $249, all right, $254. All right, so close enough. We're one little flake out of here. Make sure we don't have any on the scale. All right, so 252. So we've got the same exact amount of ice in both cups by weight. They're got both the same color. So these two cups are almost identical. One is the TEMU and one is the Yeti. So let's set these outside and we'll check back at the end of the day. Here is some nifty little parts that I ordered that I don't really see around here. These are little small gas struts for opening cabinet doors. They have the instructions on them right here. So I will have to mount some of these and see just how well they work as far as holding the doors open and being able to close. They were like $2.50 a piece, so I ordered a couple of sets of them. You know, and like I say, I've never used these before, but they certainly looked, you know, that's another great thing that I'm finding is that they have some things that I haven't seen before or I am unable to source locally. Now these are made for top cabinets that open up. I don't have any of these in my shop right now, but I just wanted to see how well this worked. So I don't know how, it's like there's a spot right here. If it's, you know, once you get in so far, that thing it's definitely closed, held closed good. And then, you know, you come across that. Now this is 150 in whatever their measurement is. I've got some 300, and so this is the smaller one, but you can see that it's a pretty good force. And then, like I said, once you get to that one spot, you can hear how hard that snaps closed. So definitely something cool, especially if you want a cabinet to stay open. I think this is a great little product. So let's say if this will fit in my table saw. That is like a perfect fit. There's zero slide. You know, I've always just cut a piece of hardwood, and I think this, and it also has what you can remove, the little spacer washers for my table saw, has the groove underneath the bottom, so it will lock in, and then it can't lift up. So I really like that feature. Might have to get me some more of these. I see that they've got them in all different lengths, and again, these were ridiculously cheap. Okay, so I've got two 300-gram bottles of invisible waterproofing agent. So I'm not 100% sure. It says it's a polymer, copolymer, but this is supposed to completely waterproof anything from what they were describing. So let's see how well this stuff waterproofs. This is some of the paper you get from Home Depot in the paint section. It's just regular brown paper, not waterproof at all. It usually falls apart pretty simple. So I just taped up a little box here to paint it with the waterproofing to see how well that works. Okay, so this is really something that I was looking forward to. No instructions whatsoever with it. Here we have a dowel maker, and all you have to do is you pull out the one screw here on this side, and then once you pull that out, you can rotate this around to make different size dowels. It says to rotate it clockwise. So yeah, we rotate that, and then whatever size dowel you want to make. So the only bad thing about this that I see is that and I knew that when I bought it, is that it is all metric. So like right here, we're setting to a 12 millimeter. Now we've got a carbide cutter right here, and so let's go ahead and clamp this down, and I guess I need to cut me a square piece of wood about 12 millimeters and see how well this thing will make a dowel. So I haven't ever done one of these before, but let's see what happens here. That actually did a very jam up good job. I didn't cut this down too small. It was actually, so it's taking off a pretty good bit of wood. I think I just need to figure out a better way to attach this to spin it. But man, that a nice walnut dowel. So this will be really nice to be able to make up, as long as I'm using metric size dowels, I'm going to have to maybe get some metric size drill bits. All right, so far we've been doing pretty good. Haven't had any duds yet. Here's a real nice, a little small square, layout square. So as long as it's nice and straight, that's all that matters. So this is going to be to lay out little small items. Now this is a 0.7 millimeter. So the lead will actually go through, but the little metal part won't. So, that'll come in here. Being walnut in the dark, but this is more for little small layouts. Goes up to 60 millimeters. A lot of stuff nowadays is in millimeters, and I've got some standard ones. So I think that is a perfectly good tool there. Alright, so this is why I paid for all the tools myself, so I can say it like it is. These are cheap rip-off copycats, and I would not mind if, you know, they were to make a tool that looks similar, functions similar, except for the fact that in the picture on TEMU's site, it actually had a picture. These are listed like the Knipex pliers. Now I've got a pair of Knipex, I got a bunch of them, but every pair of Knipexes has the part number. It's 180 millimeter long. This is the 02 handle, the Comfort Grit handles. This is the 01 handle, or if it was really, but the 87 is the Cobra, which is what these are. The picture on TEMU, when you were seeing this, you could see this part number written up here on the picture. So they took and bought a pair of the real Knipex and took pictures of this, and then they're shipping you out some fake counterfeit. So that's one thing that it is really kind of upsets me, but at the same time, I should have known. You're not going to buy woodpecker tools. They're not going to make a tool in the United States, send it to China, and sell it for a quarter of what it would normally cost. And it's the same with, you know, Germany's not going to take and make a pair of German steel pliers, ship them to China, and then be able to buy them for 25% less than what you can buy them from Germany. So I was kind of expecting it, you know, but I was like, let me see, since it actually had the picture of the Knipex. Now the pliers themselves look like they may have been pretty good pliers. I mean, they're copied all the way down to even the little small teeth on the inside of the jaw. They seem to, I mean, obviously they don't function as smooth as the original Knipex. The grooves right here are much more coarse, so you don't have as fine of adjustment. And for the price, these probably would be a terrific pair of pliers, except for the fact that it is complete false advertising. And, you know, if they, again, take a picture of this and say, this is what I'm selling, no problem. Take a picture of this, say, I'm selling you this, and sending you that, that is a scam and a ripoff. All right, so we've got this eraser. If you've never used one of these things work fantastic. So basically, we've got a eraser wheel, and now these things can be outrageously expensive. You usually have to get them like at an automotive paint shop. It's the only place I've really found them. So this one here, you know, it comes with the little chuck here, so we can put it in our drill or put it into a die grinder, and then you can only go this direction or it's going to spin off, but this will take sticker residue off. We're starting to get down in the box here. This may be something that a lot of people are interested in. So these are stock guides. These could be very expensive on certain brands. So let's see how they compare. Here was something that I was kind of looking forward to getting. Now these are the original Jessems. These are well over $100 a pair. These were about $40, I think $38 a pair. They look identical. I look like they could probably interchange. The only real exception is like it has the little bar to go into a piece of channel, and it's got a bolt that goes through this handle, whereas on the Jessems it's a stud that was made specially for this, and then this is just a threaded piece of metal. A little bit more secure. You know, you've got your Allen head stamped in there, and that's the kind of stuff that costs a lot of money, but you know what? I don't care if it's a bolt. However, what I do care about is what these are designed to do is this is on an angle, so when you feed your material in, it keeps it tight up against the fence and it can't come back because these are locking wheels, and it keeps that material tight against the fence and keeps it from kicking back. This one, however, does not do that. It's got the same angle just like that, where when you're pushing it, it's going to push it tight up against the fence, but it's got a free spinning bearing that can spin forwards and backwards. So once it pushes up against the fence, if you back up just any little bit at all, this is going to pull your material away from the fence. And so I believe this is actually dangerous to use, and definitely would not recommend it. We'll definitely be sending these back and getting my money back. All right, let's see what we got in this little package. So this is a 35 millimeter router bit. If anybody uses the Euro style hinges, this looks like it's going to be a fantastic tool, because what I'm always worried about is drilling too deep and popping out the front of my door. So let's see. And then also this has these side cutters, which looks like it should make a very smooth cut. So let's find out. This is a Merpel Irwin bit. This is what I normally use. They're pretty good bits. Makes a nice smooth hole. But again, you can always accidentally go a little too hard with that, a little too deep with that bit, which is what I'm always worried about. So let's try this one. All right. So once again, cut a nice smooth hole. However, as you've seen, probably either have a secured piece of work or stop drilling before you pull the bit out, because I spun it around. But again, we've got a nice smooth hole and did not go too deep. I would say that the Irwin cut a little faster. Smoothness is about the same. The fit, actually the fit with the Irwin is just a smidge tighter. Now that's 1 3/8 inches, and this is the actual 35 millimeter that they call for. So I would say this is a very functional bit. Okay, looks like we only got about 4 or 5 more of these little boxes. So what we got here is, since getting all these metric tools, here's a set of metric drill bits. I know you can get close to the same sizes that with the standard, but these are the actual metric sizes. So these don't have any stamping anywheres on them with your size, whereas the smaller ones do have the sizes of 6 millimeter, so this would probably be a 7 millimeter. So once again, kind of a hit or miss on the quality. And now this drill bit here looks like it's put in crooked inside of our little chuck there where it's stamped. You see where it almost missed? Oh yeah, see that? So yep, this will be another set to go in the return pile. So that's 3 duds so far. Well, the thing started off really good, and then it has ended up not as good. So I've got 2 of these sets here, so I think this is the other one. Nope, that's not it. This is the other one. So these are the little corner clamps. So whenever you're doing a miter, I couldn't find extra of the spring clips, so I went ahead and just bought a whole nother kit with a whole nother set of pliers, because they were that cheap that I could go ahead and you know, buy a whole set of pliers and rings just to get the rings. So let's check them out and see how well they do. Okay. So all you do is you take the little tool here, and that will spread so yeah, you're looking at wanting to clamp your corners, something just till your glue dries. That certainly is going to be an option. Now, you do get just a small, tiny mark right there. It's probably something you could squirt a little bit of water on and it would swell back up, or once you hit it with a piece of sandpaper, because you'll probably want to have to sand that anyhow. But making little frames and stuff, I could certainly see these coming in handy for nice quick, you know, glue ups. So I am pleased with this purchase. All right, I'm not sure what we got in this box here. Oh, okay, so these again are some magnetic. These are the push open. So, or push, you know, open, push, closed. So yeah, this will go in, and then you've got the adjuster here. And then I bought just a bunch of random different sizes to try them out. There's a little stick-on magnet, so whenever you can put this on your cabinet, and then it'll hold it closed, you push it and it opens up. So there's really no need to mount these, but you've got your spacing right here. It tells you how to mount them, and then it just goes and clamps on. Once again, unsure. Oh, this is a thin part rip guide. Very nice. So this is Fonson model, but so we got 2 ball bearings here on the front. So let's see if this will fit into my miter slot on the table saw here. Okay, so what this is for, really nice little tool here. If you need to cut a bunch of pieces that are small, but you don't want to, you know, you want it repeatable, accurate, and safe. That's one of the big things is with this should be safe. So what you would do is you can bring your blade up, and if I come right here and I kiss that tooth of my blade, so if I was to get a measurement right here and say if I want to cut some 1/4 inch pieces, I can move this, or let's just go 1/8 of an inch. So let's move this 1/8 of an inch. So I got a nice small 1/8 inch piece. So that's going to be 1/8 inch. Well, if we were using our miter slide, you know, having to move over, maybe we get it, maybe we won't. So what we're going to do here is we're going to bring this back behind the blade so that we stay safe. And now we can butt our material up here against our bearing, and then when we slice it off, it should be 1/8 of an inch. And then we can sit here and do this repeatedly, and so we don't have to reset it every time. And so now we can sit here and we can cut a whole stack of these little pieces here. And this is the end one, so that's the first one. But now these are all exactly the same size if we're doing spacers or whatever. And this is just a much easier way to quickly be able to cut small pieces on the table saw safely. Another great product. I really like this. I think this is going to be another nice tool to have. All right, so here is the last item. The box is a little rough, but let's see, hopefully it is nice. So they did package it, even though the box was pretty rough. So far we're looking really good. No scratches, no dents, everything's perfect here. Perfect there. Really good, here we go. We got hardware. And this is 580 millimeter. So it looks like we got the right size. Now there's some of the some little tape on it, but that'll be okay. We can clean that off. So let's get this put together and see how well it works. All right, so this isn't a permanent setup, but I didn't have some stops for this right this second, but I wanted to use this now. It's made to where you could either put your wood inside and clamp it down and you have this small edge here, but what I am thinking of is for like cutting boards and stuff. I want to do a juice groove. So if I want to do a juice groove, so I would actually set up my, you got to loosen up these adjustments here, and I just put in a couple of 1/4 inch bolts and they fit right in the track. I know they're not going to be perfect, but this is again just testing out a new tool that we just got, and then we will get this thing put together, and I'll get some little stops. I'll either buy some or I'll make some, but this way I can push that here tight, and now then I can just tighten these screws up all the way around. These are the screws that it came with. I kind of think I would like to have either hex head bolts where I can put a little wrench in here, or possibly a knurl nut. I don't know if I could, my fingers are too fat. They may not be able to fit in there. But either way, I mean, this does work, and it did come with the ball head hex wrench that fits in here. So that is working. All right, so I got this tightened up all the way around. And because I'm just in that little channel, I'm the same distance all the way around from my piece of wood. So now, make sure I'm on here good. Let's go find a router bit. I see on the message boards all the time about people having difficulty cutting juice grooves, cutting any type of groove like this. So we're going to give this a shot and see how well this works. This really isn't the exact bit that I would use. I would use a little bit longer bit. I'm using a bushing here. I could use a bearing bit. It's however you want to do it. All right. I see on the message boards people always having problems with juice grooves and things like that. So I believe that's going to be solved with this little tool here. So let's see what happens. So I'm going to get it tight up here in this corner. So this is just a piece of plywood, but for a first go around, that is a pretty dang straight hole. Looks like somehow or another it came up a little bit right here, but that shouldn't be any problems to go in and deepen up. That's 1/8 inch deep. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that. Like I said, I knew that this wasn't going to be super fine on this piece of plywood, but it's got a good proper spacing all the way around, nice and straight, and no wobble marks. So once I get the hang of it a little bit, that thing's going to be fantastic for cutting juice grooves and things of that nature. Alright, so it's been about 7-8 hours. I've had both of these cups sitting out next to each other outside, and this one is a little bit dark inside just because that's the Yeti, and this is the TEMU cup. So that looks to me to be about the same amount of ice on both of them. Like I said, this one's a little darker just because it has the stains from my tea. So let's check out, this was that little box that I put that waterproofing on. So there's some spots in the corner that are still wet, but it's about the end of the day, so let's see how well that waterproofing works. So that seems to be working pretty good to me. So that's just a piece of regular, the brown paper you get from Home Depot in the paint section, and definitely not supposed to be waterproof. And so that little waterproofing gel, whatever kind of polymer type stuff it is, actually that stuff is working terrific too. So I'm really happy about that. And now that I poured the water out, you can see, yeah, I'm going to call that pretty much the same on the cups and the waterproofing. Definitely a win on that also. So a couple of great products right there. Overall, I think we got some really good tools today. We've got some that are duds, we've got some that stand out, and then we got some just fake counterfeit knockoffs. So it all depends on what you're expecting to get. If your expectations are right, you can save a ton of money here with TEMU. But just be aware that there are some counterfeits. So if anything has a name brand on it, I would just assume that it's a counterfeit. And if it's something that's made in the US or Germany, probably not going to get it from over there. But if you're just looking for some good, like these anodized aluminum tools that will work, no name, generic tools, you can find some really good deals over here.